I am unashamed. What about you?
So, Jase, we're back on Unashamed. I feel like I'm back in the studio, aren't you?
Yeah.
You and I we both hit town yesterday. It's like, but we're heading out again soon. It's like we're in, we're gone, we're somewhere. You had a wedding.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I saw pictures of the wedding. Zach, you were there.
I was there.
that was the most shocking development when I looked up and saw that. Of course, I had been there.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Why
you
was
were
he so
shocked.
shocked, Zach?
I don't know.
Maybe it's because when he comes by you, he just blows the horn on
Were
the
you
way
like,
by.
how did you get an invitation to this thing? What was
Who
I
let
mean,
you
what
in?
was this-
I figure if you see a man 4 or 5 days a week, the equivalent of that, he would say, "Oh yeah, I'll see you there." No,
Nothing. He wanted to leave you hanging. Well, he what he was doing is leaving his options open, Jase, because I know how Zach is.
Oh, yeah.
If a better offer had come along, he'd have been like, I had to.
That's not true.
I had to go to LA.
I was outside of Austin, Texas at a men's retreat. I left early. I literally got up at 2:30 in the morning, drove back to Austin, got on a 5 a.m. flight to get to Birmingham. No, I made the sacrifice and got to see old Cole man get married to a beautiful woman. That was a beautiful wedding.
I hated this. Is the first one I've missed of any of my nephews and nieces. And I called Cole as soon as they had set their date, and I said, Cole, man, I can't. If there was any other event but this one, I might even see if they could move it or something. But this was the one, Zach, we missed last year because of the hurricane.
Yeah.
His first event we've ever missed. And we couldn't even tell them till day of. And so one of the guys on their board had to do his testimony, which turned out great. I mean, the Holy Spirit took over, so it turned out to be a great thing. But it was like, I have to do this event. If I have to walk back to North Carolina, I'm doing this event. So I missed it, unfortunately.
Well, it paid off for me.
How did Jase do that? Let me ask you, because it's hard to self, what would you call it? It's hard to
brag on yourself.
Brag
or
on
self
yourself. Self-analyze. There you go.
He did. It was really good. In fact, I told him afterwards. I said, "You that one right there. From now on, whenever I do a wedding, I will employ something he did that I thought was really good." So
Yeah,
he started.
That kind of made my day on that because there was him and there was a elderly woman from the other side of our new family.
Yeah.
That caught some of the theological foundation because it did not.
Did the podcast fuel some of your thinking? Is that where?
Oh no!
It's
it just, it was a whirlwind. When you you know how I feel about doing weddings, Al.
I know you love them.
Well, I do love them, but performing the wedding,
Yeah.
especially for my family, I'd rather just be a dad
Yeah.
and sit there. And so
It's a hard role because you're called upon to do something specific, but at the same time, you don't want to overshadow the couple. So it's a difficult role from a speaking standpoint. It's not easy. We've all done it because you're kind of, for me, I used to just be, in some cases, an officiant. Like I didn't even know the people that well. So, but you had a role.
That was part of the deal here. Cole don't say a whole lot.
Yeah.
And I kept pushing for a meeting before the wedding. Like they asked me, or Cole asked me, and I was like, "Well, I'm going to need to hear that question from your future wife." Because he's like, "Dad, will you do my wedding?" And he said, "Oh yeah, well we made this decision together." I said, "But still, I don't know her very well. We're getting to know each other.
To know.
So I didn't hear that question until the day before the wedding. So at that point, I had nothing prepared. We drove over there, and
So you were still waiting on the first.
I was serious.
conversation?
I wasn't bluffing. I think he thought I was. I mean, I was headed that direction.
Well, y'all had a little game of chicken going on there.
I was like, I need to hear it because I just thought, I don't know what.
Were you prepared to just go up, just to not do it at the last second? Who was going to?
I had the vows
Okay.
and the I do, but I just thought I'm gonna need to hear that.
Yep.
And so really, it worked out because I got there. Missy drove us to Birmingham, and I kind of got the basic because it's busy.
Yeah.
The wedding, there's a lot of things that you have to do.
Oh, yeah.
And so I had all the basic skeleton outline, but, I just had a deep conversation with them. But really what happened was in the rehearsal dinner, I got to know her a lot better.
Because they're telling all the stuff. And
well, they had a huge, what do you call those people that flank them? Bridesmaids and
bridal party.
groomsmen.
Yeah. The party,
So they
wedding
got up
party.
and shared, and then we had a conversation. Me, Cole, and Emmeline, which is his new wife.
Now your daughter-in-law.
And it was good. So we got the expectations. Because I once again said, look, because when they first asked me, I was like, you could do better. This I don't think I'm your guy.
Which is what you said every time.
I told that
every
to Cole.
time, yeah.
And I said, but I wanted to ask her that. She's like, no, we would love for you to do it. I was like, look, I'm not a normal preacher, and I don't know your family real well. I don't know if they want like a rigid, ritualistic type, because I have a hard time with that. So they were.
Well,
like,
you had
no.
Al, he had a hat on there, which I've never
I
seen.
saw the hat, yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen a preacher wear a hat. in a
Well,
wedding,
it was because he has to keep the hair out of his eye. I understand why he does it.
Yeah.
Because if that tangle mess, if you didn't have a hat, trust me, it would be worse.
Speaking of hats, Al, you got on a new hat there from our friends at Covenant Eyes. Real quick, I want to tell you about these guys real quick. We love them, by the way. They just launched a project called Frontline 21, and it's a program that's calling men back to biblical masculinity, which is so important these days, guys. They've got a great field manual and a 21-day devotional at frontline21.com, and it's designed to help men resist the cultural decay that really is destroying our culture so that we can lead our families and communities well. It's all free. Yeah, in fact, we're going to be doing a whole ad-free episode on October 29th. I want to tell you about that. It's going to be about pornography. And a very important topic. It's probably one of the number one questions that we get on this podcast from men and women, but mostly men. How do we get out of porn addiction? And we're going to be giving away some of these Frontline 21 hats, but I want you to mark that on your calendar, October 29th. Yeah, so in the meantime, you guys can download the free Frontline 21 field guide for men. I highly recommend you check it out at frontline21.com. We'll put the link in the show notes for you. And then again, mark that calendar for October 29th.
So I know why he wears that.
The wedding planner actually... we had a conversation about that.
Yeah.
Just like, you're wearing a hat. I was like, well, here's the problem. Because there was a series of unfortunate events. We actually didn't have it at a church building. We had it at it was a kind of a golf.
I thought it looked like a golf course in the
place.
pictures.
It was a country club. It was a country club in Birmingham, Alabama.
Is that what we still call them?
Was it a nice country club?
Oh, it was nice. We
very
played
nice.
golf.
On the course?
Yeah, during the day with all the groomsmen. Mm-hmm. Had a little healthy competition.
Yeah. Did you take them?
Which me and Reed, we scrambled because this course was built in 1929, and it was fantastic. I mean, fantastic
It looked
course.
nice, yeah.
And the club pro came out because there was 14 of us fixing to play.
Yeah.
And we had the first tee times. And he came out drill sergeant style. Was hilarious. It's probably the hardest I've laughed over some kind of event that was fixing to happen. Because this guy was like, this course has been here almost 100 years. And we have the tee times stacked behind y'all. And this is a service that we're providing for y'all. So let me go through the basics. Number one, you're scrambling. Pick a partner. Number two, if you do not play in the allotted time, we will come speed you up or throw you out. I mean, it was very kind of like in a chuckly way, but he meant business. He showed the proper way.
You weren't going to wreck his day.
To fix divots, to fill sand filled divots that you make, but the divots on the green. I mean, I was like, so it was kind of a gulp, but I kept laughing because I was like, this guy is making it clear, don't tear this course up.
What you think about it? A bunch of young men wedding party.
They're sophisticated though. These are. I mean,
well, this wasn't. But I can understand from his perspective because a lot of these things. Trust me, I've been around enough wedding situations where it's a big drunken bash. and you got a bunch
Well,
of idiots.
I
I mean,
think
it wouldn't be
that's-
that for Cole's group, but I'm saying,
Yeah.
and I've seen the groups before.
That was the feeling, and it was so hilarious. And so then we're kind of making the team, which I liked. I thought, I don't want to be out here all day.
Well, of
And
course.
There's a reason why I'm proud to say that Pure Talk is my wireless company, because they don't just talk the talk, they walk the walk, especially when it comes to helping and supporting our veteran community. This month, Pure Talk is supporting Canines for Warriors. It's an incredible organization that rescues and trains dogs and then pairs them with veterans who are struggling with PTSD. These are men and women who serve with honor, but when they come home, that brotherhood, that support, that network that they had in the military, too often it disappears. Canines for Warriors steps in to fill that gap, giving these heroes purpose, companionship, and healing. And that's exactly why Pure Talk, a veteran-led company, supports them. Choosing a wireless company has never been easier. And with talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, you could be supporting a worthy cause and saving a bunch of money along the way. I made the switch to Pure Talk. It was super easy. I did it in less than 10 minutes, and you can make the switch today as well. Go to puretalk.com/unashamed to make the switch today. Again, that's puretalk.com/unashamed and switch to America's wireless company, Pure Talk.
And if some of the guys don't play much, you sure need somebody to.
Well, here's what happened. About 3 or 4 members of the family that was going to be married in, after they heard the speech, they had golf clubs. They said, we're out. We're just going to ride. So he kind of thinned the herd right off the bat.
Zach, this is like the professor that comes in and reams you out the very first time, because if you're not going to be serious about this course, you might as well hit the road.
It's so funny. So then we started picking the teams. Well, Cole, who's fixed to get married, hadn't played golf because I said, when's the last time you played, Cole? Because after that speech, I mean, there's dew on the ground. The first hole, there's out of bounds on the right, and there's a creek on the left all the way down. There's nowhere to miss it.
Yeah.
And Cole said, I'll start it off, I was like, okay.
Bold.
He teed it up.
Striped it.
300 yards right down the middle, which I said, that looks like a man that's fixed to get married.
That's a confident man that does that.
The next guy did the same thing, and the third member of their team, so they kind of figured out who the worst golfers were. The third member hit it dead right into the clubhouse, ball rattling around. So that was a little embarrassing. But, the drill sergeant was looking around like, hey, it happens. But so that's kind of how it started. But I'm not sure where I was going with that. But it was fun. Oh, so we scrambled.
Right.
So one of the teams shot 4 under, and me and Reed and our partner, who hadn't played golf much, we shot 3 under, and Cole's team shot 1 under. So the 3 teams.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
It was a very difficult course.
Yeah.
So you think. And I think if
especially dew busting, that's the worst.
Well, and the greens were real fast and tricky. So I mean, if we had putted well, we played well enough to shoot 8 under, but making a putt was pretty difficult. But anyway, so we kind of, to get back to the message, I guess. What
was tell us your basic there for you.
Well, after we had this session with the rehearsal dinner, and we got to know everybody, and I had that conversation. And, of course, that went late, the rehearsal dinner. And then that night, didn't get much sleep. But next morning I woke up, and about 3 hours into it, I had it. And because it's not about you, but you don't want to be a distraction.
Right. That's what I'm telling you. That's the tricky part about it.
So the wedding.
But it is your son, so you do have some leeway.
The wedding planner and my wife, when I got there, they're like, I had my Bible, and I had about 4 pages of notes here, which 2 of the pages are actually the vows that, so, because they said that don't be long. And I was like, that was their one request. We don't want it long.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it was.
Which is what everybody tells me. That's the one.
No, it wasn't long. I mean,
I'd say 15,
it was
20 minutes
15,
maybe.
Yeah, tops. That was.
Yeah, it wasn't long.
Well, that's what I was worried about when I saw Jase. I didn't know you were preaching, and I saw you walk out. I was like, here we go. This is going to be a.
You're
We're gonna
thinking
have about-
podcast, Jase.
I'm thinking we got 45 minutes right here. I mean, this is he'll get it. I mean, I know it won't go over 50 minutes because that's what we're all used to doing. No ads though. I know there weren't any ads.
Did Maddie have to count him down for him to start the wedding?
I was waiting for a 3, 2, 1. But what he did, this was different. So at first, because I mean, I thought he's forgot that he's supposed because the father Jimbo, who's awesome by the way, who's got to meet him. He listens to the podcast.
The father of the bride.
Oh, he listens to our podcast.
Oh yeah. They watched Duck Dynasty and so we had gotten past that awkward. But when I first met their family, when they got engaged, we kind of had the first meeting.
Right.
And they were asking me about Duck Dynasty episodes, which I couldn't remember.
It's embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, and you have that awkward conversation. And before Zach tells you about the sermon, I had a few hurdles to get through because I was a little nervous. I mean, Missy said I didn't act like I was nervous, but I was.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm emotionally invested in this,
Yeah.
and so I'm I love my son, and it's just different. So they said, no mic. It was like, we can't have a mic stand up there. And I was like, well, why not? And they're like, well, we don't want it in the pictures. So I'm used to a mic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't
I
like
had
it.
to speak 3 times louder.
Which is another awkward because you got people.
But it
3
was a
feet.
small. It was kind of real intimate. Like I mean,
It was.
we were all packed in there. And
Well, it's not that you don't have the voice to carry, but I'm with Jase. I don't want to have to be loud if I'm speaking to
Well, I
people
don't-
3 feet.
yeah.
I don't know what Zach thought, but I was speaking 3 times louder
Yeah.
than normal, and only because we tested it out,
Yeah.
and the little music operators in the back of the room.
Could hear
I
you.
would start talking, and they're like, nope. So I raised it. Nope. So about the 3rd level, they said, that's it. And so that was the voice that I talked with 90% of the time. And then they said, no podium. I was like, well, I got a Bible, and I got 4 pages of notes. And they're like, nope. I was like, why not? And they're like, we don't want a podium in the pictures. So I was like, okay, let's make this as difficult.
Yeah.
Jase, it sounds like a production team just followed you to a wedding and just
But
started
if you're
telling
not
you how to do it.
used to, if you're not in the vein of like rhythm of preaching weddings, I mean, I did one 2 weeks ago and I got nervous. I don't get nervous anymore speaking in public.
I'm telling you,
nervous
I'm telling you, out of everything I did in all my pastoring years and ministry years, weddings were the most difficult, and for a lot of different reasons. One is it's also 2 days that you're involved in these situations, and a lot of times, if there's a problem in this family, you will find it on the night before, which I did many times.
Yeah,
So,
no question.
So, and then I'll let Zach break down the speech. The one thing when we were driving over, Missy was driving over, she said, so have you got your wedding outline? And I was like, no. And I told her the bit about I'm waiting on the conversation, which made her nervous. I said, the only thing I have is I said, I want to do one joke. And it's never been done before. And I told her, well, I'll give you the reason for the joke first. I said, I believe that my son and this woman are the most compatible couple pre-marriage that I've ever seen. I'm like,
Which is the exact opposite of his parents, because remember your guy told y'all, no.
Exactly. I was like, this is
Incompatible.
This is right. And I knew it was going to be a small family wedding with just friends. And I told her, I said, but I'm not going to do the joke. I said, but I thought about doing one. And she said, well, what was it? I was like, well, no. First she said, well, why are you not doing it? And I was like, well, I did go to Bible school, and I know that every professor there, I know my brother, I was speaking of you, would say, do not do this, especially when you don't know half the people are going to get married. I was like, but I really want to do it because I think it's the right time, and I think it'd be really funny and it'd be a good icebreaker.
And Jase, you're unintentionally funny. If you tried to be intentionally funny, it was funny.
And that also. So I said, but I'm not doing it because at the end of the day, I prayed about it and I thought about it, and I just think it's too risky. Yeah. I don't want to alienate this new family that we're going to be involved in. It's risky. And she's like, well, tell me what it is. And I said, no, because I know you wouldn't want me to do it. She's like, tell me. I said, what I want to do for the first time in the history of weddings, I said, I want to do the part where it says, if there's anyone here who has just cause for why these two should not be married, I said, I want to say that and then say, you may go now. And I said, and she's like, that's hilarious. I think you should do it. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, no, I'm serious. You should do that because I feel the same way. That's just ridiculous that we're even doing that in our modern culture. I was like, babe, you're talking me into this. So Zach was there, and I did it.
You did it.
I did.
It landed. It
landed.
Yeah.
And I think
I thought you were going. I would have said, if I would have done that joke, I would have said pause and said keep it to yourself.
No, I said, you may go now. Everyone laughed. But here was the bonus, because I don't feel like you should get up there and be funny or make it about you.
Yeah.
But then I made the point with passion. These two people, I am convinced, are brought together by God Almighty.
So you turned it into
I did it with some passion. And
He did.
But then it just turned out great, because the poor father of the bride, they changed up how they were going to do the song. Well, I thought we were all going to stand and sing. They had a woman lead a song who was fantastic, by the way.
If you're looking to do something to better your health, I want to encourage you to look no further than right here. Kimchi One from Brightcore. I've been taking this stuff. It's absolutely amazing. So Kimchi One delivers the all-powerful fermented nutrition of kimchi, but it's in an easy-to-take capsule, giving your gut over 900 unique probiotic strains to support healthy digestion and overall health, because all health really does begin in the gut. So when you give your body the right fermented superfood, you can support your immune system, you can improve your digestion, and even boost the appearance of your skin, your hair, your nails. Kimchi has actually been shown to reduce the risk of obesity and support a slimmer waistline. I love kimchi. My wife doesn't like it when I eat it in the house, but I do love kimchi, and especially the way it makes me feel. So Kimchi One is a solution for me, because Kimchi One is an all-natural, non-GMO, made right here in the U.S. of A., crafted by Brightcore Nutrition, a company committed to health, integrity, and American values. I take Kimchi One every day. Today, you can take advantage of an exclusive offer, 25% off with code Unashamed when you visit mybrightcore.com/unashamed, or call my friends at Brightcore at 888-404-9677 for up to 50% off plus free shipping. Their knowledgeable team will help you decide if Kimchi One is right for you. That's 888-404-9677, or visit mybrightcore.com/unashamed.
Saying great is thy faithfulness.
Yeah.
Well, everybody got the memo except the father of the bride that this change occurred. We all had a little meeting. Well, he wasn't in the little pre-meeting. They're like, no, she's just going to sing it. That's what the family wants to do. But his cue to, like, when I say, who gives this woman in marriage? He says, her mother and I. Well, then I was going to say, let us stand, and as we're standing to sing this song, he was going to go to his seat. But they said, no, she's just going to sing it. So everybody's going to remain seated. So when I said that, he said, her mother and I. Well, then I was going to introduce the singer, and I was waiting on him to go to his seat, but he was just kind of looking bewildered, and then I realized, oh no, he doesn't realize we've changed this, and he needs to go sit down. And so I thought about saying what I'm fixing to say, that I did say, and I thought, that's risky, but I know this will break the tension that's mounting right now.
Yeah.
And I said, you may go now. Well, it's the same thing I said.
It was kind of like, bye.
Yeah, well, they all roared again, because it's like the same.
Well, he gave the daughter away, and he's standing there, and Jase's like, okay, you can go now. It was pretty funny.
It was funny, but he kind of turned red, but I told him later, I was like, I apologize.
We love you, Jimbo.
Yeah, I apologize for that. And he's like, oh, I took it for the team. He's like, I really didn't know what to do.
You kind of did a tombstone, little Johnny Tyler. You did oh, I didn't realize you were there. You may go now.
You may go now.
I said it. But I think everyone knew I was joking, so it was okay. And
it landed well. I don't know. I guess the producer in me, I was kind of nervous for you, Jase. I mean, I don't know why. I was thinking, I hope, does he know that, like, the whole time I'm like, because when you're not up there on the stage, you kind of know, you're a little more aware of the process and how it should flow. And I knew when the father or the bride walked the bride down the aisle, at that point, you're supposed to say, who gives this woman in marriage or something to that effect. And then the father says, her family and I. And then the father goes and sits down, and then you start preaching. Well, Jase, and I didn't know you did this on purpose. Jase goes right into the sermon, and I'm like, I don't think he realizes he's supposed to.
Oh no, I realized it, and that was the one thing Zach pointed out. I just felt like in our culture now, I just wanted to lay the foundation that God is the architect of marriage.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say that right off the bat. I mean, I had an icebreaker, love is in the air. This is a joyous occasion. I'm looking at what I did.
Well, you read out of Genesis, a man shall leave his father and mother and be united with his wife.
I put that in every
become one flesh.
But I started off
that's in ours, but he started off with that with the dad's like sitting there. But it worked out awesome because it was like a physical demonstration of this theological truth that's in the very foundation of marriage. Because Jimbo's standing there with his daughter, and he gives the verse like a man shall leave his father. So you see kind of this like separation, which is in your notes when you do a wedding now. But the idea of separation and then going.
I do like the idea of doing it there at the beginginning. That's a great.
Oh
point.
well, I worded it into my sentence. I had this all written out. I was like, based on, and I quoted. I actually took two verses, one from Genesis 1 and one from the back half of 1, or maybe it's in 2. And I combined them.
Yeah.
That God created male and female in his image. And for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife.
Yeah.
And the two will become one flesh.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, based on that, who gives this woman in marriage?
Like
because it's not just the man and the daughter are leaving their parents. Well, the parents are, you need to be a part of this leave and cleave process.
Yeah, it's the foundation building. Yeah,
exactly.
Like that,
And so I asked him, so it was kind of some legs to that question. And so Zach noticed that. But I thought, hey, in these days, I think we need to bring that principle back.
That's good.
There's a male, there's a female. Yeah. They make a perfect one flesh, just based on human anatomy. And this was his idea for them to form a family unit.
Right.
And so that's what I did.
Well, what I like about it is outside of even what a point I always make in a wedding is that marriage is such a strong institution because it predates Christianity, it predates Judaism, it predates any of the world's religions. It literally was a gift from Almighty God to the very first man and the very first woman.
Yeah.
And so you think about all the thousands of years of human tradition, and yet here this last Saturday night, Jase is still in a setting where you were still implementing the things that God created for us to do from the garden to today. Yeah. And so that's why when you see these attacks on family or marriage, or when you get into all these different things that are attacks, it has to be of some point of evil or lies, because this has been a part of human tradition since we've been around. It's such a crucial point to me. And I love the way you did it, because I love that illustration that you're watching it happen. That's powerful.
Yeah, which led to them when he sat down and we sang the song, Great is Thy Faithfulness. I started off that God is the architect of marriage. And I went to Hebrews 3:4. Every house is built by someone, but God is the builder of everything. So that was kind of the theme of as this went on. So then I used a real personal illustration with our parents, because my mom sent a message to Emmeline because she was really sad that she couldn't go. She was not physically able to go. And she said, tell Emmeline, tell Emmeline that she is the most beautiful woman that Cole could have ever gotten, inside and out. And so then I said, well, what do you want me to tell Cole? And she's like, well, just tell her that in front of him, and that'll be good enough.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which was everybody laughed when I said that. But, you know, I found out later that, you know, even when she came over to Dad's funeral, I wasn't aware that on the way to the funeral in the cars that Emmeline held my mom's hand the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, and so I brought this point out about how different my parents are, in that Kay always had this mantra that you fight for your marriage, and I talked about that.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, if she hadn't had that mantra, Cole, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't be standing here right now.
You may not even be here. That's right.
And I was like, and then there's my dad, who every wedding he was ever involved in any capacity, started off with a very obscure passage. 1 Corinthians 7:28, and I'll quote it because I'm sure no one out there knows what 1 Corinthians 7:28 says.
That's good.
And I'll do it in my Phil voice. Those who marry will face many troubles in this life, and I want to spare you of this. Which everybody kind of chuckled at, but I'm like, you know, he was right.
Yeah. He was saying it's not
you
easy.
get married, trouble is coming. And I thought it was a good way to build on the foundation that God made them male and female. Of course, then I went to the roles in marriage.
Yeah.
It's both a Jesus role,
Yeah.
but it's different.
Yeah.
You're a man created by God. You're a woman. There are plenty of differences, not only just in the body, but, you know, our emotional makeup. And somehow that joining together, especially as you're vowing this to God, you not only complement each other, but you complete each other. And I said that. And so then I went through the roles. I'm like, you trust God's process of this. And that was the basic gist of it. And
I thought it was great. Me and Jase looked like we looked like we
Yeah, there's a
got
picture, y'all. Maybe will show it. It's you're both in your black suits, and kind of a Blues Brother. If you'd have had a hat,
I said the same thing.
yeah, it could have been a Blues Brothers.
I said, which one is Jake and which one is Elwood?
Yeah.
You didn't
So
have
we
the-
cleaned up. We cleaned up well. We had our
think y'all
black
look
suit,
good
black
together.
tie. Yeah.
I only have worn that hat twice, and it was
The other
when
one was
I
at
did-
Reed's wedding.
Yeah, when I did Reed's wedding, and when I did.
Well, it was
Cole.
funny because I was sitting at a table full of people while you were doing the wedding, and someone sent me a picture from, I guess it was one of my kids that was there, sent me a picture of you, how you were speaking actually at the wedding. So the people at the table, I was telling them, I was like, we're missing my nephew's wedding to be here tonight. And they're, oh, and I said, no, it's okay. So then I was showing people the picture of you. I said, this is Jason. This is his wedding hat, is what I called it. So, Jase, this morning it was cool, crisp outside. It had the feel. It had the feel like we're getting to duck season. We're getting to the time we're going to be outdoors a lot.
Duck season is upon us, and the wilderness and woods and swamp, that's always been my happy place.
So this time of year, we always think, you know, God made this, and there's nothing quite like a duck blind looking at God's creation in the morning. We love it. And we're stewards of this creation. And the federal duck stamp, believe it or not, is one simple way to live that out. For $25, you're helping protect what God made. God gave us dominion over the earth, not destruction. And the duck stamp lets us practice being caretakers instead of just consumers, which is really good. The conservation supported by duck stamps makes that reality not only for us, but also for generations to come. So we love this idea. Dad taught us to take care of what God created.
Yeah.
And that's our job as conservationists. And so if you care about conservation, about faith, about family, then this one's for you. Head over to duckstamp.com/unashamed. That's duckstamp.com/unashamed to get yours today. It was great because it gave us an opportunity, because I was about to get up, Lisa and I, because we used a piece from Mom and Dad in our story when we go on the road and speak. And so it was really neat to me in that moment to realize that while we're doing kind of what we've been called to do, you guys were continuing that foundation thread, you know, which is powerful.
I thought it was awesome. I mean, we all stayed at a couple of houses that were big together, 5 minutes away from where the wedding happened, and it was all of my immediate family, and minus Mia for the first night. She had the stomach flu.
Oh, really?
Oh, it was terrible. She was going to do the worship for the rehearsal dinner, but she made the wedding.
Oh, okay.
But she did not feel good.
Yeah.
And bless her heart, but she's just like, I'm not missing this.
Yeah.
And so, and then we had all of Cole's groomsmen. They were on the compound. But, we had so many Bible studies and just kind of worship moments, and it was just fantastic. But it was, it was a whirlwind of 3 days. And look, the family that we're marrying into, I mean, we couldn't be more joyous about that. So we kind of got to know all them like after the wedding.
Right.
Because then it was
because you spend the
showed
rest of now their lives together. You guys are joined. It's a new family. Zach, what's cool for me and you is we happened to get to be there the night that Cole introduced Emlyn to Jase and Missy because it was at the K-Level Awards when we were getting our podcast award. That was the first time anybody had met her.
That's true, but I felt so terrible because we were involved in the program, and so it's like I'm like, hey, hope this works out. We might have had 2 sentences because it was so busy. And look, that's happened a lot. Like every time we're together.
But that also takes some pressure off too, because y'all were in the world we have to be in when we're in settings like that when you're on, because you're up in front of people. But for her to get to see that and kind of see this is what it's like to marry into this crazy group of people, I mean, I guess I guess maybe it's not a bad thing.
Well, I think most people who are, at the sound of my voice, you don't realize that when you go to these events and things, it's chaos.
Oh, it's chaos.
And they have everything planned out to where you go. It's just hard to sit down and have a real conversation with anyone. It's just mass chaos and organized.
But it was encouraging for me to see, because you and Missy are a little bit ahead of us in kind of like life in terms of your age and where that whatever point of you guys are in. You are in the grandkid phase. You got 2 kids married. Yeah, Mia's almost out of college, and we still got little kids. And so one of the things I told Missy, I went up to her during the reception, and I said, really, you guys have raised amazing children. Like all 3 of them love Jesus. All 3 of them, 2 of them that are married godly Christian women that I just are amazing. But there was times when I look back at your life, I thought, I don't know how that was going to turn out. And it made me feel good though, because we're raising kids, and it's so encouraging. I said, but y'all but even the ups and downs of just raise. I think everybody kind of goes through that. I said, but it made me feel really. Give me a great deal of peace. I was like, you train a child right, the Bible says, and they may drift away, but they will come back. And you guys are a living testimony. And Missy said, she looked at me and right in the eye, she said, I'm going to tell you something, Zach. Don't ever give up on your kids. Always push, even when they're in that season where it's tough. And that was super encouraging to me because she's like, we were not going to relent on our children, and she said never did, and now they all turned out to love Jesus. So for me, that's an encouragement word to anybody listening right now. Like you think, man, my kids are this, my kids are that. Like you just keep pursuing them. Like don't stop, do not stop, because love covers the multitude of sin.
And you want to raise them to the point too, Zach, and this is one of the things I've learned because I'm now a step ahead of both of y'all. Because now I have, for example, a 40-year-old kid. And which is, you think about your kid turning 40 is like, really? And what happened? But the idea is that, man, it's back to that Ephesians, because you probably did some out of Ephesians 5, but Ephesians 6, he goes right into that idea of parenting right after that.
Well, it's spiritual war.
Right, and the responsibility of children to parent. But that verse, do not exasperate, your children. You have to discipline them in a way that is best for their future and what they're doing, but in a way that you can also maintain an adult relationship. That crossover is so crucial because I see so many people that miss it. And then what happens is once that happens, it's so hard then to have that relationship the way you want it to be going forward as adults, because it's going to be, it's going to be bumpy. You're going to have to be the bad guy.
That letting them go, that leaving and cleaving, which is why we, Zach made such a big deal about that. that process too is difficult because you just want to hover, but it's not healthy. And, I look back on that. Some of those moments were, I think, where you're fighting, for your kids the whole time, which is the word Missy's always used. Just in private with me, she's like, we got to keep fighting, we got to keep fighting.
Which is kind of what your point was earlier about mom saying that about fighting for the marriage.
Well, right. I mean, that was the one time I did get emotional one time. And what's so weird about it? I knew I wasn't like fixing to cry, but my voice just stopped working for 5 seconds. And, because I think I was looking at Emily. She had a smile on her face, and tears were just coming down her face. And
tears of joy.
So Cole had a little bit of deer in the headlights, which is understandable. And so I looked over at Missy, but I was reading the thing about mom.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, don't know why I looked there. She's lost it. And my voice quit working for a second when I made that line about you got to fight for your marriage, because I remember all those conversations my wife and I had. But the point I was going to make is once they did get married, even like Reed and Brighton, I was like, babe, we got to fight ourselves now.
Yeah.
Because we got to let them fail, let them work out the difficulty.
Yep.
I was like, they're a marriage unit, and we're here when they need us. But it was a little easier for me than her, and not that I think it's easy for anyone, but I look back on how that relationship has evolved. I mean, my oldest son and his wife are two of my best friends in the world. I mean, and really, that just in the last couple of years, with his wife Brighton, who we had on the podcast. I mean, I just love her, and we're good friends. And so I think that's a blessing. So I appreciate you saying that.
But that takes effort too, Jase. I mean, that takes effort as adults, like anything else. And sometimes even the hardest thing as parents, sometimes to tell your kid, hey, we did this. We thought this was the right thing to do. Maybe it wasn't, or even apologize sometimes to your kids for things that have happened. Because I'm telling you, you want to maintain that relationship because it's just important to continue to build those foundations. Because once you lose that, man, it's hard to get it back. And I can't imagine being in a situation where I saw my kids and my grandkids once or twice a year. And I know a lot of people in our culture, that's the way they live. I can't imagine that life. I mean, I can't imagine not being a part of all of it.
I mean, I would say the two things that I've stressed, which weirdly enough, which is how, my daughter-in-law, how we got to be good friends, was through Bible study.
Jase, we're living in a time when lies are easy and truth is costly. And nowhere is that more devastating than in the battle for life. That's exactly what Natalia faced. Her first reaction to her pregnancy was abortion because that's the lie that she was told. Once she heard the heartbeat of her child, she knew that God wanted her to have her baby and that all things would be possible through him. Natalia chose life and was provided with the love, support, and the resources she needed from Preborn Network Clinics, one of our partners on the podcast. And this happens on average 200 times a day because of the support from people like you. Moms who are overwhelmed and pressured suddenly see their child, hear the truth, and realize they're not alone. We're committed to life. Lisa and I are kind of the front lines talking about abortion. We speak at a lot of pregnancy center fundraisers. Jase and Missy foster and have taken care of kids, adoption, a lot of different ways for us to do this and to be in this together. But the guys at Preborn Network Clinics, they need our help. And that moment of truth costs just $28 to sponsor an ultrasound. An ultrasound doubles a baby's chance at life. This is not the time for silence. It's time for courage, a time for truth, and a time for life. Give now by dialing pound 250 and saying the keyword baby. That's pound 250 baby. Or you can visit preborn.com/unashamed. That's preborn.com/unashamed.
And because she made a comment one time. Of course, y'all know me. I don't need an excuse to give a mini sermon. And I've done that throughout my kids' lives. When they invite their friends over, it's not long, 2 minutes before we eat. Yep. I don't give just a prayer.
Yeah.
I'm like, here's the thought for the day, and it's a mini sermon. Because I want to build that in our relationships. I'm like, let's talk about life's tough.
Yeah.
This is the greatest manual. I'm holding my Bible here. And let's dig in. This is thrilling. This is exciting. And so it's interesting that I think that one key nugget has always been there. And the other thing I was going to say is, we act the same way in private, and I'm talking about my wife and I, as we do in public. And I think that really impacts your kids.
Yeah.
There's no...
Yeah.
When we're at
you
the
got a
house,
secret life,
we're having the Bible studies. We're having and we go out. There's no that's that and this is this. So I think those two things. I'm not saying that as far as points. I'm saying that I've heard that from my kids that they were really grateful for. We want to talk about the Bible. We want to have discussion. So to get back to Brighton. She said one time in passing a couple of years ago, she's like, I've had a lot of questions, but I didn't want to bother you, I was like, questions about what? And she's like, the Bible. I was like, that's not bothering me at all. I love that.
Yeah.
I was like, send me a text. That one little statement, they just started firing. And I thought, man, what a privilege and honor to be talking to your family, and having Bible discussions.
Well, and I know a lot of listeners out there, because we hear from you all the time. In fact, we were on our way to this event, which was in Raleigh, and we were in the Charlotte airport, that's a disaster zone. The Charlotte airport is the airport that wants to be bigger but can't quite get there, and so it's very difficult to navigate. We had 40 minutes. I thought, we're never going to make it. I had already decided we're probably going to rent a car and drive the rest of the way. But we made it, but barely. And so I've got to make a quick bathroom stop, and then I'm trying to grab Lisa. We're already late getting on our time to get on the plane. And one of our listeners comes up. He recognized Lisa first. And I felt so bad because I had like literally a minute, to shake his hand. And but he sent me an email later through Jen, who got it to me. And I'm so glad that I did, because he told me what the podcast had done for him and then his family. And that's what I thought about in the context of what we're talking about, because he was like, I was just so lost and adrift, and I just had nothing to offer my family. But then when I got into the Word with you guys, I realized, a life change and some depth is what my family needed. And it was just very heartfelt. And I'm sorry, I know you listen to the podcast, that I didn't get a chance to talk to you more in that airport. But that's what this is about, Jase. What you just described. If you don't have something in your own well, if you don't have some depth from God, and that comes from studying, that comes from having a relationship with Him, that comes from being willing to share what He's done in your life. If you don't have something in the well, you don't have anything to give. And so in your family, it can become a void and just a landscape of nothing, which is why your kids would then look to other places to find something to fill that void. So, everybody that's listening, the first foundation is you have to have that relationship with Christ and deepen that and have something that you then have to share. And that's got to be your starting point. If you're not there, I'm glad you're listening to us, because this is the place to do it, because we're going to get into the Word of God, and we're going to talk about how Jesus does that. But I'm telling you, it won't just affect you. It'll affect your marriage, then will affect your parenting, your generations, and you'll have these same stories to go,
And that's the bottom line. I think at the end of the day, your kids watch what you do, not what you say. So I think what you say becomes more meaningful after you've lived it out here.
Right.
And so, look, just seeing those little kids, knowing that I'm uncomfortable about getting up doing weddings, let's just face it. I don't have the look for it or the feel, nor do I want to. But this is a God thing, and I think love in its truest form is you doing something that you don't necessarily want to do for the benefit of others. And I want to leave my family. So it's okay. I was vulnerable, uncomfortable, and my favorite part is when it was over. But, I just feel like that's what I should do. I should go up there and do that, especially for the little kids there. This is raw, and it was real. And that was the main comments I got, even from the new side of the family. Because to them, I thought that was the more sophisticated. My
New family.
Well, yeah, but I mean, my presentation, that was about as reverent and sophisticated as I can be. But the phrases I heard were, that was so heartfelt and personal and
that's what
moving.
surprises people, Jase, at weddings, because they're used to a very formal tone. And you know what I'm saying? It's usually not, which is what I always embrace family weddings. Of course, again, I admit I'm a professional person that does it. So, I mean, I've done this hundreds of weddings. But when I would do a family wedding, I felt free because, like, you know, I didn't have to worry about offending anybody. It was my family. So I was like, you know, so that's kind of how I felt like you did. You know, I felt a little free by that. So,
yeah, the verse again is train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. I think you saw that. Yeah, you know, Saturday evening. That's what I saw Saturday evening. It was absolutely beautiful. I'm glad we get to be a part of it.
Well, and the thing about Coleman is that he's out of all your children, Jase, he has the most Jase-like tendencies, like from just his life and me seeing you grow up and him, because you're like that too, which people would be surprised because you're willing to talk and you're willing to share with people, but you've always been like a quieter person. And that's the way Cole was. I mean, he is. And so I've always seen the tendencies there. He has, to me, the most qualities like that. But then Reed's got
everything but one thing. He's like a million times smarter than I am. I mean, this guy. So, it's caveat. I mean, that dude, he'll start talking sometimes, and I'm like, okay, you need to call Zach. Tell him that, and let me see what he thinks.
I knew when he said, okay, I'm going to Pepperdine. I said, what are you studying out there? He said, philosophy. I was like, well, okay. Then you're smarter than all of us.
He's one of the, he's probably number one person in my life who has asked me several questions that my answer was, I have absolutely no idea. Like he really, like a philosophy question that's based on some kind of biblical concept.
And you're like, call Zach.
I don't know. I got nothing for you, which is okay. I got nothing. Right, you know, I was like, that went so far over my head. I don't even know a starting point. But
he's
interesting
sharp.
question. Yeah, he's a really smart guy. I will tell you this, as kind of aloof as he is, and as how much, like, I knew, Reed's bride a little better because she was from here, hometown or whatever. I was shocked that. So they take off. They went to an island. They're on their honeymoon. And so yesterday, which was their first, they took off. I think they stayed somewhere that night, but then they left.
The next day.
Yeah, the next day while we're coming back. And they actually sent a group family picture of just their toes in the sand. And it's just like, I forgot what the little caption was, but, beautiful day or whatever.
Yeah.
I was just so shocked. And Missy's like, who sends a group text to their family on the first day of their honeymoon? And I was like, babe, I think that's a good sign. I think they really enjoyed us all being together in that moment.
And launching it. Yeah.
I just thought, that's a really good sign.
Yeah. Plus, Tommy Emmon he said this first, and I use it now in my weddings because I love the concept, and it's just what just happened. It's the joyful part of watching this new couple is it's a birth of a new family. And so it's still in your wing, but at the same time, it literally is the birth of a new entity, because when two become one flesh, it's a new person. And so, like, the two of them together now become their own birth of a new family. And I love that, because the idea is that's why we get so excited about it. I mean, it's a life thing.
Well, it was. And the backstory on why we were kind of shocked about that is because they're the two worst I'll text you back people in our family, and they just got married. So it's like, I'll text Cole, and 3 days later, it's like he's answering like it's current.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been great information. That's why I texted you 3 days ago. But so the fact that they did that, so old Reed took that as an opportunity. He's like, boy, it's a whole new you. All you had to have was that night, and then it was a couple of memes that he creatively put there about what happened the night before, which turned out to be hilarious. But I think that was a good moment again. And even Missy said, "Oh, that was hilarious, though."
All right, we're out of time. I guess this became the wedding episode, but I kept looking, thinking were we ever going to get to John, but not today. But it was.
Well,
good.
I appreciate indulging because look, those 3 days were very emotional, very exhausting, and very enjoyable.
Yeah, it's good.
But
birth of a new family. I love it.
There we go.
We'll see you next time on Unashamed.
Thanks for listening to the Unashamed podcast. Help us out by leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And don't miss an episode by subscribing on YouTube. And be sure to click the little bell and choose all notifications to watch every episode.